welcome to another edition of FMS Reaction to Topical Issues. And today I'll be joined by Dr. Kiyala from the DUT International Center for Nonviolence, where we'll be unpacking the new development in the international politics. Dr. Kiyala, how are you?
Good morning, Skumbuzo. Good morning, our viewers. I'm fine. It is an absolute privilege for me to be again with you after we had the interview on the book launch.
Yeah.
So I look forward to engaging with you and share with our viewers our thoughts about what is going on in international relations and in world global politics.
Yeah. Well, thank you for giving us time to speak with you today. So the first question that I would like us to tackle, as we have seen new development that have been happening in the international politics, especially the issue of tariff. So, Dr. Kiyala, I know that you are someone that is interested to see peace happening throughout the world. So I would like us, with my first question, to look at the BRICS nation and how Trump is always protecting his allies. So whenever there is a country that has issue with these allies, whether you are talking about Israel, Trump, or let me say the United States, will always intervene to protect one of his allies. So looking at these two groups between BRICS and NATO, because Trump is also one of the countries that is representing NATO. So would you say BRICS countries, as you've seen that we have China and Russia, are they willing to defend one of their small brothers? And because on this side we have seen how United States are quick to respond when, for example, when Israel is attacked by any of the countries.
Yeah, thank you, Skumbuzo. That is a very interesting question. I would like to start with an anecdote from Professor John Mearsheimer, who is a political scientist, one of the greatest scholars in international relations. John speaks about the global system that is anarchical. So the global system is in a state whereby each country would like to be protected, should have self-defense sustainability. Because there is, as John would put it, there is no night watchman who sees over peace in each country, and that is able and capable and determined to protect any country in case of attack. So that's the first thing we should know. And this is very important if you mention what's going on in the world today with wars around the world. We see the case of Ukraine. Ukraine has been an ally of the United States, so to say. And Ukraine has been attacked by Russia. And some scholars would argue that it was the Americans who dragged Ukraine into war against Russia. And another school of scholars will say that it is Russia that invaded Ukraine because of its expansionist tendency to rebuild the lost and dismantled former Soviet Union. And if you see what's going on, you will see that Ukraine, despite all the force, the military hardware receiving from the EU countries and the United States, hasn't been able to protect and defend its own citizens. And if you look at what's happening in Gaza, Israel has been destroying Gaza, killing people, and starving people. What is going on as a genocide in Gaza. And there is no country that has come to the rescue of Gaza. And if you look at what's happening in the world, it is all coming down to what a country has as self-defense mechanisms, what a country has as a self-defense sustainability to withstand all the threats that come from its neighbors and so on and so forth. Okay. So that is where the United States has a hegemon, who has a power, has control over all these countries, and it dictates the rules of the game in trade, in international relations. That's why even the idea of the BRICS came about, so that we can have a multipolar world. We can have a world where the center is not the United States, but we have so many centers, as we see now with the BRICS. We have the United States. BRICS is not a military alliance. It is a cooperation economic alliance. So that we can look at the issue from that perspective of dominating a world power, economically, military, which is the United States. And then we talk of countries in the periphery, like South Africa, and some of the BRICS countries are also countries in the periphery. So they are not able to protect themselves against all that United States has in terms of economy, in terms of military, as we can say, in 3 dimensions of world international politics and relations. When it comes to geopolitical factors, geostrategic factors, and geoeconomic factors. That's where we have still to see how countries in the BRICS are going to respond when the United States cannot help them.
Okay, speaking about protection, we've seen Donald Trump announcing that countries in the BRICS will face tariffs that are supporting the Palestine with the issue of Israel that is at the Hague, the issue of genocide. So how would you say South Africa should position itself in terms of the foreign policy? Because we have our own ethos of wanting to be a country that established peace, a country that always established peace anywhere around the world. But we have seen with the issue of Gaza, now we are facing the 30% tariff imposition by Donald Trump, who said that with South Africa, he's not happy about our foreign policy and how we have positioned ourselves. So how would you say South Africa should maneuver itself in terms of trying to remain on its ethos, but also wanting to still do businesses with countries like the United States?
Yeah, thank you, Skumbosa. That is very interesting indeed, question that you are asking. And we should look at what happened when President Ramaphosa visited the United States in the White House. You see how the debate was hot, and President Ramaphosa was not prepared to see what was displayed on the screen, on the reality that was created by the United States, because some observers have found that the pictures he put there were not coming from South Africa. Some might have come from Congo. And then we looking at the relationship between the United States and in South Africa from what has happened in the ICJ, in International Court of Justice. South Africa has taken Israel to the International Court of Justice. And yet Israel is the strongest ally of the United States, not even the countries in the EU. And as a result, we'll say that South Africa would pay the price of bringing Israel to justice because of the genocide that is unfolding in Gaza. And we should remember that the United States creates its own reality. The United States makes reality so that it can justify and sustain what we will call in geostrategy as sanctions against countries that do not align with its own economic philosophy and its ideology. The ideology of the United States, as it stands now, Israel is a country under threat of being destroyed. And then, as a result, United States has been pumping military hardware every time. Tons and tons of military hardware are being shipped to Israel. And that has made Israel a bully that cannot fear anything. It tramples on international law, a country that does not have any regard on international human rights law, international human rights. It doesn't have a regard for those international legal frame and standards. And South Africa, because of that, has suffered what we can call trade punishment. The trade punishment comes in forms of sanctions that the United States is imposing on South Africa. How to come out of that? It is very difficult because even the BRICS countries as a bloc the BRICS countries do not have leverage on the United States. United States is the world military power and the world largest economy, followed by China. Even China does not have leverage on the United States to alleviate the sanction or its position towards South Africa because of what has happened to Israel at the ICJ. And you will put it, like South Africa has remained on its ethical standard. The ethical standard of South Africa, which is anchored in Ubuntu, does not allow any country to bully another country, least to see the suffering or genocide of the people. And not only Gaza, wherever it is in the world. And President Ramaphosa spoke so well. He defended South Africa's position without going back to what happened to the ICJ or what is going on at the ICJ. I think South Africa has to work a very, very careful way of diplomacy that would not change the mind of Trump, but bring the Trump's administration to understand that South Africa has been fighting a just cause. The genocide, which is acknowledged by everybody, and that shouldn't make South Africa a victim of trade punishment because of the position it has taken to support the Palestinians and taking Israel to ICJ. I think South Africa should pursue that route of justice for Israel. At the same time, trade ways of balancing its position on a diplomatic ground so that the relation at least can be in favor of South Africa when it comes to trade.
Okay, last question. As you have touched on other countries recognizing the position of South Africa. We have seen France, UK, and Canada also stating that in the September United Nations General Assembly, they are going to recognize Palestine as a sovereign state. So would you see that as something that we should that should give us hope in establishing a two-state solution and a lasting peace in Israel and the Palestine issue?
No, thank you, Skumuzo, for bringing that up. I think when we talk of a multipolar world, the United States is slowly losing its power over all institutions, in the sense that European countries and Canada that are coming now up to support the cause of Palestine would show that we no longer have a unipolar world where United States dictates who should accept Palestine as a state and who shouldn't. And raised voices that are coming up from Canada, from the France president and UK Prime Minister is bolstering South Africa's position to see that South Africa's position to see that Israel remain a state, and that will lead to possibly a two-state solution that would keep Palestine as state and United States as Israel as another state, and they should live in good neighborhood relationship.
Well, Dr. Kiyala, for the interest of time, I think we'll end this there, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much. It is my pleasure.
Yeah, well, viewers, that was Dr. Kiyala from DUT International Center for Nonviolence, and this is FMS Reaction to Topical Issues. Let's meet again next time in the next episode. I thank you.